Okay, so far everything was quite basic. We did not do any complex logic. What we did is we just created an app called image compression, and then we created a model, and then we created a URL pattern and the form and the template as well. Okay, so these things are very standard implementation for any features. Okay, so in this video, let's try to write some real logic to compress an image. Okay, so what we need to do right now is we want to upload an image and click on the compress button. Okay, so as soon as we click on the compress button, we'll receive the post request or the image in this compress method, and we will then use pillow library to compress an image. Okay, so let's try to do that in this video. So first of all, make sure your form action is correct, because your form action should be pointing to the compress view. Okay, so it should be pointing to here. Okay, so and then we have the CSRF token. Okay, so and this one also, as I told you in the previous video as well, this is very important when you want to upload an image, because our form is actually taking the image or the file. Okay, and okay, so CSRF token is there, and then we have the submit button. Okay, so next thing what we want to do is we want to actually take the post request here. Okay, so let's consider user has uploaded an image and clicked on the compress button. The post request will trigger, right? So let's take that post request. Let's say if request dot method, oh I'm sorry, request dot method is equal to post. Okay, so if that is post, then first return it, and we will put this inside the else case. Okay, so just write else and put it inside this else block. Okay, so let's handle this post request now. When it is post request, that means we are getting the form data, right? So let's say form is equal to which form it is compress image form, right? So let's say compress image form, and this form is actually coming with the data, right? So the data is actually the request dot post, and also it is coming with the file, right? So when we have the file in the form, we should say request dot files. Okay, request dot post and request dot files. All right, now at this point, let's check if the form is valid or not. Okay, let's say if form dot is valid. Okay, so this is a built-in method of Django form. If this form is valid, then we will actually take the file name. Okay, so file name is equal to form dot cleaned data. Okay, cleaned underscore data. So the name of this attribute is actually this one. The name of the field is actually this image, original image, right? Let's copy this original image and put it here. And then we also need the quality, right? Quality is equal to form dot cleaned data, and again the field name is actually the quality itself. Okay, so now we have these two things that is coming from the form. Okay, so now let's create model instance using these two things. Okay, we have these two things. One is the file name, which is the original image, and other one, instead of saying file name, you can simply say original image. Okay, so we have the original image, we have the quality, and we can create this compress image instance. Okay, so because of course this user is nothing but the user who is logged in. Okay, and original image we have, which is coming from the form, and quality we have, which is also coming from the form, and this one compressed that, of course it is auto now add, it is an automatic field, and this one we don't have, right? So we want to compress the image and then store this compressed image inside this compressed image field. Okay, so meanwhile we can store these things and create an compress image object. Okay, let's do that. So first of all, let's say user is the request.user. Okay, so here you can say user is equal to request.user. Okay, and then we can actually say compressed image is equal to form.save. We are actually saving the form with this current user and the original image and the quality. Okay, and this one here, form.save, will we should actually pass commit is equal to false. Why this commit equal to false? Because this form is not yet saved. Okay, we are temporarily saving this form. Okay, so why temporary? It is because we still want to calculate, or we still want to manipulate this image and create this compressed image, right? So once we have all these things, then we can commit the changes or commit the form or save the form. Okay, so right now we are temporarily saving this form object and creating the compressed image object. Okay, so in fact, once we set this commit equal to false, we are saving the form temporarily and telling Django that we still want to make some other operations as well before we finally save the data into the database. Okay, so that's why we use this commit equal to false. Okay, so and next, once we have the form object here, this is actually the form object, and once we have this, we can perform the compression. Okay, so let's perform compression. All right, to perform the compression, we need to import the image class from the pillow. Okay, so let's say from pil import image. Okay, image is a class, and this pil is nothing but Python imaging library. Okay, so we are actually importing this image class. All right, now let's open this original image with the pillow library with this image class. Okay, so how to do that? Let's say image is equal to image dot open. Okay, because we want to open this original image with the pillow library. Okay, pillow library's image class. Okay, so that's why we call image dot open. Open is a method to open the original image. So once we do this, we get the image object. Okay, so and then next step is to create a input output buffer. Okay, so let me tell you why we use a buffer. So let's first say buffer is equal to IO. First of all, import buffer. I mean import IO, input output. Okay, so it comes from Python actually. So buffer is equal to IO dot bytes IO. Bytes IO. So this buffer is to store the image's binary data, because if you look at the image or the audio files or video files, they are actually the collection of binary data. Okay, if you want to see the binary data of an image, then I'll show you in this video as well. But this will actually create a virtual memory for storing the image data. Okay, so for storing the image's binary data. Okay, now if you look at this buffer print, just go ahead and print this buffer. Okay, so this can be confusing to many people. Just want to make you understand this, what exactly this buffer and why are we using buffer. Okay, so just consider this buffer as a virtual storage or virtual container where we are going to store the compressed image. Okay, so we have not yet compressed the image. We are going to compress the image later, but before that we want to create a container to store that compressed image, right? So that is why we are creating this empty buffer. Okay, so if you print this buffer like this, then let's try to run this. Let me select one of the image and click on compress. Okay, don't worry if you get this HTTP response error, but the point is we want to see this print, right? Let's scroll up, and here you can see buffer. this is the buffer object. Okay, so maybe you cannot read it very well, but if you want to see what is inside this buffer, it is actually a blank storage. Okay, if you want to see what is inside this buffer, you can see get value. Okay, I think get value. Okay, buffer dot get value. Let's save this, and let's again try to reload this page and see what is inside this. Okay, so you can see buffer is actually empty. Okay, why this b and empty string? This b is nothing but the bytes literal, and this is used to represent the sequence of bytes. Okay, and right now we have created the blank space for storing the compressed image. Okay, next what we need to do, we need to actually compress the image and put that compressed image inside this container called buffer. Okay, so let's do that. You see right now it is blank. Okay, so I'll show you what happens when we save the file or when we save the compressed image inside the buffer. Okay, let's say img.save. Okay, img.save. So this save method will actually first take the buffer. Okay, we are taking this blank buffer. Okay, and we want to give the format. Okay, format is equal to, this can be jpeg. Okay, this can be jpeg. However, we are going to pass the format dynamically. Right now let it be format equal to jpeg static value, and then we will pass the quality. Okay, quality is equal to, we have the quality, right? Let's pass this quality equal to quality. Okay, so we have the image object already. So this image object is taking the original image. Okay, so once we take this original image, our image class will give us the image object. Okay, and then we are saving this image object with this blank buffer, and then the format, and then the quality. So depending on this quality, this image will actually compress the image and store it inside the blank buffer. Right now it will not be blank anymore, it will contain the original or the compressed image. All right, once we save this, and let's try to print this here. Okay, when we print this buffer dot get value, it was blank buffer or the blank space, blank container, right? Now after saving the image, or the after compressing the image and storing it inside the buffer, buffer will not be blank anymore, it will have the binary data of an image. Let's see how this binary data looks like. Okay, just save it. Okay, and let's refresh and select a file, and quality 70 and compress. Okay, so let it be like this. Don't worry about this error. We just want to see the binary data. You can see this binary data, right? So this is actually the hexadecimal image data. Okay, you can see, image is actually a collection of binary data. If you want to see how the image looks like in a binary mode, then what you can do is you can install an extension called hex editor. Okay, I have already installed it. Okay, so it is there in my this VS Code. Just make sure you install this hex editor, and okay, and then what you can do is you can actually go to open any image. Okay, go to media, and okay, we don't have any images right in this directory. Let's I'll actually open one simple image. Okay, let's okay, so right now it is the image preview. Okay, you see this image preview inside the VS Code, but if you right click on this file tab and reopen editor with, okay, there is this option called hex editor. This will be available only if you install hex editor extension to your VS Code. Okay, otherwise you will see only these two things. Okay, text editor and image preview. This will be available only if you install the extension hex editor. Now let's open this image in a hex editor and see what is inside this image. Okay, let's open and go to reopen editor with and select this hex editor. Okay, so you can see this is actually the binary data of your image. Okay, of course this is not readable, but this is the data behind your image. Okay, so that is there, and there is one more thing called cursor. Okay, so right now we have actually compressed the image, and then next what we need to do, we need to actually save the compressed image inside the model, right? Let's do that. Let's delete it and save the compressed image inside the model. Okay, compressed image inside the model. Okay, now let's say compressed. Okay, so this, we already have the form object. Let's say compressed image dot compressed image dot compressed img. This compressed img is nothing but the field name. Okay, img dot save. Okay, dot save. Inside this save method we are going to pass the file name, which is f. We'll make the file name like this, compressed underscore. The file name will be this original image. We'll put the original image file name only, and comma, we'll have to pass the buffer. Okay, so this is where our the compressed image exists. Okay, all right, and next we can return redirect compress. Okay, so we just want to get rid of this HTTP error. Okay, so here one more thing remaining is we need to set the buffer's cursor position to the 0th position. Okay, so how to set this? Buffer dot seek, set it to 0. Okay, it should be always in the beginning to make the read and write operations. Okay, so because if you look at this buffer, when the moment we create the buffer value was 0, right? Buffer was empty. Okay, at that time the buffer cursor position was 0. Okay, for example, the buffer was here. Let's say, let me open this. Okay, let me go up. It's a very big file. Okay, so it was here. This cursor was in the first position. Okay, and then we saved the compressed image inside this buffer, right? So when we save the compressed image, the cursor moved here, and then it came, and it is right now the position is this one, last position. Okay, so that's why in order to make the further read and write operations, we need to set this cursor's position back to 0. All right, so that's why we set this cursor position to 0 using this seek method. All right, now, and if you, before setting the cursor position, if you want to see where the cursor position was, let's make the print here, and the cursor position at the beginning. Okay, when it was blank buffer, we can see the buffer dot tell. If you run this tell method on the buffer, it will show where exactly your buffer is. Okay, so right now it is blank buffer. We are checking the buffer position here, and here we are actually putting the image inside the buffer. Then we will see cursor position at after image compression. Again buffer.tell. So this will show where is the cursor position after we have compressed the image, and then we are setting the buffer.seek 0. Then again we'll see cursor position after setting back to 0. Okay, let's see how it works. All right. Okay, I'll get rid of empty spaces. Okay, let's finally try to compress the image and see the output. Okay, let me open one image and set it to 60% and compress. Okay, don't worry, we got some error. Not null constraint failed. User ID. No problem. Just ignore this one. I'll tell you how to fix that. But let's see the cursor position. I'm just trying to show you what is this cursor and where these cursor positions are. Okay, so at the beginning, cursor position at the beginning was 0, right? And cursor position after image compression, it became, the cursor went to this position. It is, I think, 10,59,376. These many bytes are there. Okay, and then again we then set it back to 0, right? So cursor position after setting it back to 0, and it is 0. Why we want to set it back to 0? Because we want to read this image later as well. Okay, so if we want to perform read operation or write operation later, then we must set it back to 0. Okay, and all right, let's get rid of this, and let's get rid of this print. Let's get rid of this print as well. Okay, we are getting this error, not null constraint failed, image compression, compress image dot user ID. All right, so this could be because if you look at this models.py, we have the field called user, right? So this is the foreign key. So we need to set this user before we save the form. Okay, so let me go back to this views.py. Here user is actually the request.user, which is the logged in user. Okay, so here after this commit equal to false, we need to set the user. Okay, so let's say compress image dot user is equal to user. Okay, compressed image, okay, not compressed image. Compressed image dot user is equal to user, and then we will set compressed image dot compressed img dot save. Okay, all right, this should solve our issue. Let's try. Okay, let's try to compress this image and set the quality to 60 and compress. Okay, redirect is not defined. Okay, so this is a silly mistake. Redirect comes from this Django.shortcuts redirect. All right, now let's again refresh it and let's try to compress this image. Okay, so it just got compressed, I guess. Let's open this entry, and this is the original image, and this is the compressed image. You can see here compressed underscore tennis, right? This is the file name. Let's open this as well. This is the original image and this one is the compressed, but you see you cannot see the difference. Okay, but this file is actually compressed. Okay, if you want to see that, you can save the file and see the size. But however, in the next video we are going to calculate the size of the original image as well as the compressed image and show it in this table. Okay, but right now if you want to see the difference, just save this file and see in your computer. All right, and last thing I want to show you is this format. Okay, right now it is JPG format, but you know what, I want to pass this JPG dynamically. How to do that? Let's actually say, after this img, you should say output format is equal to img dot format. Okay, so this img format will actually give the original images format. Okay, so whatever format we are trying to compress, that in the compressed image also will have the same format. Okay, let's copy this and paste this here. Okay, format equal to output format. All right, so yeah, that's how we compress the image and reduce the size. But anyway, let's see this full feature in action in the next video, because the next video will be interesting, because we are going to calculate the size of the original image and the compressed image. Okay, so yeah, that's it for this video, and we'll see you in the next one.